Here's a promotional handout from Straight Incorporated from around 1986. It's got a little brochure on the front called The Dream for Every Parent, and then an issue of Epidemic, a little periodical Straight put out. I'll get to that a little later. And then on the back it says, "We realize that you didn't ask for these." And it's got 3 little packets that look like they contain marijuana, cocaine, and a little yellow capsule. Then it has all the symptoms to watch out for in case your teenager is doing drugs. And Straight claims to have helped 4,100 drug-using young people and their families since 1976. And then at the bottom, it's got the different Straight Incorporated programs around the country at the time, starting with the Straight National. I guess that's the home office in St. Petersburg, Florida, which would be Straight Tampa Bay in St. Petersburg, Straight Atlanta, Cincinnati, Dallas, Greater Washington, Straight Orlando, Straight New England, and Straight Michigan. Here are 2 brochures that Straight would hand out to parents looking for treatment for their teenager. This one is specifically from the Straight Atlanta program in Marietta, Georgia. See that? Straight talk about adolescent drug rehabilitation. And it's just got your typical information about the program. And then over here, here's a checklist of symptoms of drug use that you may have observed in your child. And you can see on the back that it's Straight, and testimonials by other people, and then of course the programs. There they are, with addresses. Alright, here are some handouts for chemical dependency, disease of the feelings, characteristics. And you can see at the top the infamous Miller Newton wrote this for Straight Incorporated for the parents. I'm pretty sure this was would have been handed out to the parents. Here is the steps, some sort of steps for the parents to go by. And you can see in the corner, Miller Newton, PhD. Here is a handout to the kids in Straight for some song lyrics. And this is probably Straight's theme song. At least when I was in Straight it would have been. It's called I Am Straight. And it goes to the tune of I Am Woman by Helen Reddy. And it says, I am straight, hear me roar, in numbers too big to ignore, and I know too much to go back and pretend, because I've heard it all before, and I've been down there on the floor. I love that line because lots of people ended up on the floor in Straight. It says, no one's ever gonna keep me down again. I can do anything, I am strong, I am invincible, I am straight. Here is a promotional bumper sticker they handed out to parents in Straight. And this one has a homemade area code on it. I'm guessing they had these printed up at one point and then the phone number changed, so they had to put something on there to change it. But you can see in the corner, it's sponsored by Straight Incorporated. Here are issues of the Epidemic brochures that Straight would put out periodically. This is number 1. I have number 1 through 11. I think I'm missing number 8. But they just have your typical promotional material promoting Straight and their program. And they're all pretty much about the same, have the same kind of stuff in them that you would expect. They do have some depictions of kids in like open meeting group, but of course they keep the regular group sessions very well hidden. But this one has Nancy Reagan in it. It looks like maybe her second visit to a Straight. And that was the Cincinnati Straight. And she visited St. Petersburg, Florida in 1982. And here's some more pictures of her visiting Straight. And Straight really promoted this one after this happened, because that was probably the picture of Straight most of the public had. Let's see. There's one more, I believe. Here's one that a day in the life of a Straight family, and it follows this family. And this one, it comes, it depicts the kids doing their host home chores and stuff, and house rules. And I'm sure these rules were, real typical sounding in this, but the Straight's notorious for their many, many rules. And let's see. Then you've got, there's one more with the bushes, I believe, making a visit to Straight. The signs and symptoms. Okay, here is George Bush, the first George Bush visiting Straight when he was vice president. And he visited Straight in Tampa Bay, Florida on March 17th, 1987. And there's Vice President George Bush and his wife Barbara. Around that same time, you can see First Lady Nancy Reagan visited a couple of times. Princess Diana, when she was still the Princess of Wales, she visited there then with Nancy Reagan. First Lady of Ecuador and the Vice President of Colombia visited Straight also. But there's more pictures of George Bush when he was Vice President of the United States visiting Straight in March of 1987. And what's interesting is in 1984, the United Nations adopted a torture law that pretty much included a lot of the things that went on in Straight could be construed as part of the definition of torture as laid out by the United Nations. And it was ratified about 3 months after this visit by George Bush. So if you read the definition of torture by the United Nations, it includes mental torture, and it also includes coercion. Any coercion to make somebody confess to something against their will which Strait did lots of times. That was pretty much a daily occurrence in Strait, is to pretty much require kids to get up and confess to things, bad things. So, in effect, the United States government was endorsing torture.